Well, thank you, Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, for having me today. For those that don't know me, I'm Christian Collins, founder of Texas Youth Summit. And we work to reach college and high school age youth with Judeo-Christian and conservative values. I want to share a little bit about how I got here. You see, I grew up in a Christian home. My dad was a pastor. But I was that man whose house was built on the sand and not on the firm foundation. In other words, I went off to college and I didn't know why I believed what I believed. So here I was in college. I found myself agnostic and thinking that I would vote Democrat for Barack Obama. I didn't vote Democrat. I didn't vote at all that year. And thankfully, in 2009, my father introduced me to the great Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh helped me become the conservative that I am today. And in that search for meaning, I was conservative, but I was still agnostic. And I surrendered my life to Christ. That was a turning point in my trajectory. It was beautiful. It changed me forever. One of the ill side effects, though, that I was so heavenly minded that I was no earthly good. In other words, I had been studying politics for so long, and I no longer cared about that, and I wanted to go into ministry. Well, I had a conversation with my dad, who was a pastor, and he encouraged me to continue to go down the path that I had been on. And so I did. Sometime later, I was working at a college, teaching there, and I was also doing college ministry as an extracurricular, and I was working full-time for Senator Ted Cruz and traveling with his father, Reverend Rafael Cruz. Raphael helped me understand that ministry and politics go hand in hand. And actually, you can do politics in such a way as a ministry that glorifies God. So that's exactly what I did. So here I started Texas Youth Summit, and I work to educate young people with Judeo-Christian and conservative values, and we're blessed to be working closely with Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. So I want to talk to you for a couple of minutes on what it means to be a conservative. To be a conservative, first, we must preserve our Judeo-Christian heritage. The first 5 books of the Bible, the Pentateuch, greatly informed how the framers wrote the Constitution. There's a reason why on the dollar bill it says, "In God we trust." There's a reason why we pledge allegiance to an almighty God. There's a reason why in Washington, D.C., there are monuments erected to honor and glorify God. This nation was also founded for the purpose of religious liberty. Our founders escaped persecution and their countries coming to this country to found America for the very idea of religious freedom. It's why we can never let happen what happened in 2020 ever happen again, where they shut down our churches and forced us to take a shot. We can never let that happen ever again. As conservatives, we are pro-life, from the womb until the grave. We've had some victories with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, but the left is not letting up, and they've done a referendum and legalized abortion in Ohio, and they're working in every Democrat-run state to push infanticide with abortion up to 9 months of pregnancy. As conservatives, we believe that life begins at conception. As conservatives, we know it doesn't take a biologist to recognize the difference between a man and a woman. A man is a man, a woman is a woman, and God gave us the anatomy to prove it. We see this playing out in our public schools with woke indoctrination, where youth are confused and taking hormone therapy and having sex reassignment surgery. This, too, is an issue of the sanctity of life, and we must be pro-life at this stage and stand against it. Being a conservative means that we fully embrace the America First agenda. There's an America First agenda that literally means we put America first. And there's an America Last agenda. Pundits, politicians, and writers who are pushing anti-Trump, anti-America First ideology. They're still living in the 80s, thinking that our biggest geopolitical threat is Russia. sending over $200 billion to Ukraine. Meanwhile, our border is wide open. Illegal immigrants are pouring into our country. We experience this firsthand as I live in Texas. We must secure our southern border. These American neocons are also beholden to their globalist open borders donors. They say all the right things to get elected and reelected, but they keep and continue to keep our borders open because they want it for the cheap labor in this country. We must secure the southern border. Our biggest geopolitical threat is not Russia, it's China. And we've seen 12,000 Chinese military-aged men come across our southern border, pushed here by the Chinese Communist Party. 107,000 of Americans have died from fentanyl overdose just this past year because it's come from China. We must secure our southern border. And we see issues playing out on the college campus with these pro-Hamas riots. Many of them have come across our southern border too. And every major Western city in the Western world, we're seeing this play out. It's BLM 2.0 all over again. They yell genocidal, anti-Semitic phrases like, to the river, to the sea. Anyone that yells this phrase should be deported back to the hell that they came from. Maybe Rod Flipkowski or Cookie or whatever his name is on Twitter doesn't like that, but that's the truth. And my encouragement to you, as President Ronald Reagan said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You must become conservative missionaries to advance the conservative cause. You must fight like never before. For such a time as this, you were created, you were born for this moment. So make sure that you get out and fight. Thank you, guys. God bless you. God bless America.